Dear friends, welcome to the Human Weave. We are your hosts, Rosh and Yash, and today's episode is all about what it truly means to find home in a new place. We'll explore the feeling of belonging, the art of networking, making friends, managing emotions, and so much more. Because moving away from home, whether for new opportunities or for the thrill of exploration, is a journey that reshapes us in unexpected ways. They say home is where the heart is. But what if your heart is scattered across continents, cities, and the countless faces you have encountered? For some, home isn't a single location, it's a feeling, a connection, a moment shared. And no one embodies the spirit better than our guest today. In season 1, Stories of Connection, we are joined by an extraordinary David Miller, a man who has made every place he goes his home and every person he meets his source of energy. Born in Litchfield, Kentucky, and raised in the heart of the American South on a tobacco and horse farm, David's journey took off at just 17 when he joined the Air Force. That's when his love for travel and, more importantly, for people took flight. Since then, he has lived in the USA, South Africa, Switzerland, and now Mauritius, and worked extensively in Brazil, Argentina, England, and India. David isn't just an extrovert, he's what he calls an extrovert's extrovert. If there are 100,000 people in a room, he's wondering why there aren't 200,000 so he can meet more. His ability to turn strangers into friends and foreign places into familiar ground is what makes his story so compelling.
Beyond his travels, David is a father of three, a grandfather of seven, and a man who believes that life is meant to be lived in the company of others. He's passionate about golf and has recently discovered a love for snorkeling, which he has been enjoying immensely. In today's episode, Home Away from Home, an extrovert's take on finding connections, we'll dive into how David has built lasting relationships across cultures, what he has learned from making the world his home, and how meaningful connections can turn any place into yours. Welcome to Human Youth, David. We are so happy with you.
Thank you for having me.
David, let's start our conversation. What was it like to grow up in Kentucky, and how did you have the experiences in your early years, the perspectives of the world that has shaped you and your childhood?
Well, my early years were spent in Kentucky on a farm in a very rural area. It was hard work, it was hot work. Believe it or not, Kentucky's summer temperatures and humidity levels are just like Mauritius, except in Kentucky, they're a little more extreme. They get above 100 or 40 Celsius more there than you do here. So I love this weather. Being from the South, you had all the stories, all the stereotypes that get that's not a stereotype. They're that way. And I was raised in a family that was that way. So early years there were a lot of concerns of being raised in the South and with the world and what I was being told and didn't know and didn't see. I got the opportunity to leave at 17. I graduated high school a year early and was gone and discovered that that's not what the world is.
When you recall back, do you think it would have changed if you had not left at the age of 17? Would anything have changed?
I would think so. I would hope to think so. I would. Yeah. I was raised in a very strict, rural, God-fearing family, but there were also deep-rooted beliefs and stuff there. So it was hard to change my view to start with because it was like, this is what I know, this is what I've been told, this is what you know. And then when I started seeing different, I was kind of like, I knew I knew that stuff was a little off then. That it wasn't. That's not how it's supposed to be.
When you moved away, you were still quite young. You said you were 17, right?
Yes, yes.
And with all those beliefs that you grew up with, how difficult was it to step away, get into Air Force, and step into a vast world at that age?
I wanted something different, so it was probably a little easier than that, than it should have been. But I knew that was my way out of the farm, out of Kentucky. I could leave that behind and learn something new. The Air Force made it easy to meet people from all over, and you get you get to having long conversations, and you get to learn. And it started changing a lot of views that had been around me.
Was there a resistance to that change from your side?
No, I've always been one to listen to both sides of an argument, you know, because there's your truth, his truth, and then the truth. So I always give people the opportunity. I've never been one, even with all of my upbringing, I've never been one to judge someone because of your skin color or your religion, which made a lot of people unhappy with me because I was too friendly. And that helped also because when you get into the military, there's everyone. Everyone is in there. So, and that helped with that.
And I guess you were still so young that, even that was quite an impactful year. 17 is still teenage and you're still impacted by people around you, I guess.
Today, I'm going to sound like a very old man right now, but a 17-year-old today is nothing compared to what a 17-year-old when I was 7. I mean, we had jobs, and I know it's a different time, but we had responsibilities. We bought our own cars, stayed out all, there was no curfew. We didn't have to be home. We had to go to school. We had to go to work. So 17 was a different time. Yeah, because by the time we're 17, of my children that I know, the three, they didn't 24, 25, the majority that we had at my 17. We were starting families and stuff like that the next year at 18. Yeah, it's a very different time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so being 17 going into the military was all right. I now live in a different state and got somebody telling me what I'm supposed to do for who knows how long. But it comes with a paycheck, so there's a plus there.
So for you, what was the most exciting point when you first moved away from home?
Wow. When I first moved away from home, probably sitting on the airbase watching just hundreds of jets take off every day and come in, and you get to the point to where it's just amazing how many there are and how fast they are and stuff like that. When I first moved away, that was probably what amazed me the most. And I was in one of the major metropolis cities in the U.S. and in Texas for my training. I didn't care about that. Is If you've been to one city, you've been to every city in the world because they're all laid out the same. They all have the same parts of town. They all have the same people. It's no different everywhere. That's why it makes it very. Once you go to several, it makes it very easy to get around when you go to a new one. But that didn't impress me. The Jets did. But I was also, impressionable. I was 17.
How different is it when you move away from home? I mean, it's one thing to move to a different city, but you're still in the same country. You mentioned there was still a lot of differences in the way people saw the world, the color, everything, right? But how different is it when you move a country from moving cities in the same country?
Well, it's a little different. The first time, it's a whole lot different. A good example is my first day in Rio or in Sao Paulo, Brazil. My driver, it had taken 6 hours to get from the airport to my hotel because Sao Paulo's traffic is nightmare. nightmare. And he pulls off on a side street, and there's a guy standing next to the stop sign with an automatic rifle. And he goes, "The economy's getting better." And I'm like, "Do what?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "If the economy wasn't doing better, he'd have a pistol instead of a rifle." I went, "Oh, that's good to know." First day there. That set me up for Sao Paulo. But after you do it a few times, it gets routine. I've done it. We've done it so much that when we made this move, it was easy. Uh, you soon learn to let go of things. They don't matter. They're material items. You'll buy another one. There's certain things you keep though. Our books. We won't part with our books. That's about it, right? To be truthful, that's about the only thing we will not part with is our books. We have a substantial library and some very old books and complete series of books and stuff. So that one travels with us. And books are not cheap to ship. Remember that, children.
That's good to know.
Right.
That was my exact question, actually, David. To me personally, I get attached to a lot of places and things. It's not easy for me to let go as such when I'm attached. So I was just thinking, does it become easier as you do it more, or is it just a
It,
natural trait?
it becomes, it's not even a second thought. It's like, oh, well, let's sell the furniture, sell everything. Let's sell everything but the books. And then we're good to go. So the first time we did it, uh, it was difficult because, especially being in the U.S., you become very attached. Materialism is a thing. It's a very much a thing, and you've collected your entire life all this stuff, and then one day you're like, we're selling everything, including the silverware, and taking 6 suitcases and 3 boxes and leaving. That's it. That one was difficult because the house went, the cars went, everything left. So, yeah. But after that one, it gets real easy. You just got to do that first one. After that, it gets very easy to just look at it and go, sell it, give it away, throw it away.
Yeah, that's a different perspective. So, David, with our intro, Roshni did mention that you always call yourself extroverts extrovert. So, what's that secret sauce of turning every other stranger into friends?
Don't be
And
afraid. Don't be scared. They're not going to eat you. They're not. You may not like what they say, but they didn't eat you. So, yeah, just don't be afraid. My wife is very much an introvert. And we go places, and I have people close their windows down and come out to smoke a cigarette with me to talk because they like the sound of my voice. And they look at me like, how do you do that? How do you get people to just stop what they're doing and talk to you? Better yet, how do you get the nerve just to walk up to them and start talking to them? Very easy. Hey, dude. Hey, ma'am. And there you go. I've always been that way my entire life, to the point that my grandfather wanted me to be a preacher because of the way I talk to people, and that didn't happen, by the way. So,
so, how difficult it is for you and your wife to face a similar social setting? Does it have a different approach, or how do you manage it together?
well, if it's her setting it up, I know it's going to be 4, 5, 10 people max, maybe more if it's something bigger. But she can function. It just drains her a little bit. With me, though, when I want to go to a rock festival or I want to go to a massive party, she's like, no, I don't know one of these people. And I'm fine with that. I know that. And out of the kindness of her heart, every now and then she'll go with me because she knows that I really want her to go with me to these things. But I also know that she doesn't enjoy it as much as I do. So I don't push the issue. That's how we deal with it. We've been together so long that I know what the answer is going to be when I ask it. Every now and then I get a different answer, and I'm like, really? Yay! But still, at least now you know where I'm going and what I'm going to be doing. So that's where I'll be. Yeah.
And you always feel happy when they say yes to where you want to go.
Yes. Yes. Always. Very, very happy about that. And anytime she says she wants to go somewhere, I'm like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
But again, introvert, extrovert.
I was just wondering when you were saying you could easily walk up to anybody's gate and call them out and start talking. Have you ever had an experience where people were not receptive to that or something you didn't expect came out of it?
Nothing out of pocket, nothing out of hand. No one's ever been threatening or rude, gross rude. Some have not been very receptive. I'm like, okay, peace, see ya. Yeah. Uh, I don't get offended by it. And then again, if I do, I'm a 6 foot, 120 kilo man. So, I don't let it bother me.
I think that's a good thing for anybody who's listening to this also, that you know there's nothing worse that can happen. Probably the worst is that they will not answer to you or show disinterest.
But yeah. And I'm like, all right, have a good day. What's good about it? Oh, you're standing up breathing, aren't you?
So you don't take any of those words personally.
No, I don't. Because in that situation, they're just lashing out, you know, or there may be issues there. So, all right, have a good day.
Hmm.
Sorry to bother you.
What helps you to do that, like in that moment? Of course it's not pleasant when somebody is not uh welcoming or just nice to you. It's always unpleasant. What's going on in your head in that moment?
Is it unpleasant? In situations like that, nothing. It's like, well, I hope he keeps his hands to himself. But other than that, you know, yeah, because I don't take it personally like that. Now in a different setting, a more, organized or intimate setting, lots of people and someone's like that, I'm kind of like, what's your problem, bub? Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't even know me yet. Don't be talking to me like that. Yeah, I said after you get to know me, then you can talk to me that way.
Makes sense. Like then is when you have a difference of opinion or a real argument probably. So because you are the way you are, I would like to ask you. So people who fear talking to strangers or new people, right? What do they need to that what is the one fear they need to overcome to start a conversation with a stranger?
That's the thing. I don't know what the fear is. I can't tell you what that fear is because I've never been afraid to talk to anyone ever. So I assume that it's anxiety, fear of rejection, fear of being talked to in a certain way, fear of being, maybe abused. Don't know what it is though, because
Have you ever been curious to know?
I ask them all the time, "What's wrong with you? Why can't you just walk up there and ask that person that?" "Oh no, I can't do that. That's too embarrassing, or that's I'm too anxious, or what if and what if." What if has killed more dreams than anything that's ever been accomplished? What if? Yeah. What if he turns out to be your next husband? What if he turns out to be your best friend? What if he's someone that's just down on his luck and needs a few bucks and, turns around and puts a bet on it and wins $1 million and remembers you and brings it back to you? What if that happens? You know?
The mind tends to think in negatives, I guess.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what the mind does. Well, your conscious does. Because we're always concerned with what other people's thoughts are of you. That's always a thing. And something like that is very ego shattering. Get the nerve up to finally say something to somebody and they went out of pocket on you. That would just shatter you. You really wouldn't want to do that if you care. Okay, see ya, and I'll go to the next one because it's happened, but I don't care. You got to also get to the point to where you don't care. That really helps. I don't care what anyone thinks of me. Yeah,
Yeah, I think I can totally relate. I'm not that person who can just go say hi to anybody. Not as easy as you do, David. But yeah, I think it comes from the past conditioning and the past experiences that you have taken it very seriously about certain things, maybe offended also. That's what I can relate with my own experience. But I think from what you were just saying, it's about the acceptance, right? Just accept it. If they're good, accept it. If they're not, accept it too. And just be very detached about it.
you have to accept it. You can't change it. It's already happened. That cat's out of the bag. Go on. Next.
I kind of relate to both of you because I've been at that place where I am an extrovert, but I want that starting point. That is difficult for me. After that, I can be very relaxed and, be in my own character. But that starting off something was very difficult for me. And I felt anxious. I felt, they might feel I'm just intruding. So many things that, I mean, Mauritius is the first place I traveled to outside of India. But when we came here, there were so many different cultures, people from different places. Half the time I did not understand the accents and I struggled. And for me, it was a hit also because I did my graduation in English literature. And here I was coming here talking to people, and I could not understand the English they were speaking. And I was like, okay, was it not English that I learned back there? I was half the time just nodding to things I did not understand, and I was too embarrassed to say I'm not understanding you.
Right. Because
And to go from that point to where I am now, I think um, now I think I can take that time and ask if I don't understand or I'm not used to a particular accent, I can ask them, I'm not able to understand your accent very clearly. Can you speak a little slowly? And most of the time, people are very nice and they oblige to your request.
I have a couple of friends that I play golf with that are Scottish, and I worked and lived in England and went to Edinburgh quite often. And to this day, I still ask them, please say that again. Say that again. I have the most trouble with that accent. A lot of people struggle with my accent, which isn't as strong now as it used to be when I first started traveling. When my wife and I traveled to my family in Kentucky, uh, she has to ask, what did they say? And she's from the U.S., but she's like, what did he say? I didn't understand that. And I have to translate Southern English into Northern English.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but yeah, and it is difficult when you're trying to meet someone or trying to, and you keep on having to ask, say that again. So you feel embarrassed that you didn't understand it. Well, no, I don't understand your accent. Slow down, please.
I can so now relate to what you were saying. You get used to things also, right? Like over a period of time. Initially, you're more afraid. You've gone through a few experiences and then it just gets easier.
Yeah. It's, you come to that acceptance, as she was saying, but it's an acceptance. You don't care what these people standing here looking at me try to start this conversation. They don't matter. You're probably never going to see them again in your life. So who cares what they think? Yeah.
I'm curious when we are talking about language is one of the things, right? Language, accents. But you've lived across continents and culturally those places can be very different. What are some key differences that you have observed when it comes to making friends or forming connection?
Well, you have to be open minded. You cannot have one expectation that you know what what their culture is. And when you do find out, still be open-minded. Don't put them in a box and this is what you are, because that's not so. You know, you're Muslim, so you're in this box. You're Hindi, so you're in this box. You're Christian, so you're in this box. And these people act this way, and these people act this way, and these people act this. That's not so. Learn, ask questions. If you don't understand, ask. Become interested. If you're going to be living in a different country, living there, live. But that means that you have to find out where you're living. What's the history? What shapes these people to be what they are? You know, is it their ancestors, their religion? Is it whatever is making these people have their core values and their belief systems? And don't be rude about it. Don't go, that's crazy. My God would do it this way, or my God's this. Well, first of all, no, he's not. So, but learn. Since moving to South Africa, I've been to Eid twice at the end of Ramadan with some Muslim friends. Since here, we've been to our first Hindu cleansing at the wedding. You know, that was very interesting, very colorful, very hot, and very long. But I enjoyed it because it was new. I'd never seen it before. I'd never, been invited to one. And it's awesome. Love stuff like that.
And I think for us, I'm sure Yash can add to that. In India, because every state is almost like a country, everything changes. The way we have our weddings, to the food we eat, the way we dress up, everything is so different. Languages are different. Everything, you name it, it's different.
Well, I know the languages are different
Yeah.
because when I was in Mumbai, you don't talk like the people in the South. They just don't.
Yeah, actually, they say every 4 kilometers in India, you have a different civilization that exists. So even if it's a similar city, the moment you cross the circumference of 4 kilometers, you have a different accent within the same state. So you need not really travel to a different country to experience this. You can just cross over a city or a state.
We get a taste of it. And also, like, for example, my parents, they moved when they were very young from a particular state to another state for work, marriage, and everything. And I grew up in that another state. You almost lose roots. You don't know in the end who you are really. You're constantly adapting to different languages, culture. Your own identity gets kind of mixed up with that.
Right. That's not a bad thing, though.
No.
It's growth. Hopefully, it's growth. Hopefully, it's growth.
And that brings us to the question that, that sense of home. How do you create that wherever you go? What is your experience? What's your story around that?
Home, I don't know if you just saw or not. Joya was just on my elbow, on my shoulder right here. Where her and my wife is, that's home. That's home. Wherever my dog and my wife is, that's home. That's how you get that.
Yeah.
It is what you make it. There's no other place in the world I'd rather be. And it gets difficult because every time I move, I don't necessarily lose a friend, but I don't get to see them. We're not doing what we were doing. We're not talking like we were talking. So then the conversations that you do get to have, they're good, but they're not the same. And, you know, so that home, part of home is having friends and your family and the community you live in. That's all home too. But it makes that difficult. And then you end up with a very long list of phone numbers in your directory and trying to make calls to people or text. But you get out and be part of the community. That it makes home, because there you learn your neighbors. You learn what the problems are. You help in the community. You do something. We do rescues. We've always done rescues because we know all rescues could use help. So we're very active with the rescues in the area. Yeah. Home is home is where you lay your head. It's not where your family is. My family is 18,000 miles away, and my wife's family is like 22,000 miles away. So, yeah, home is here. Home is in the moment. It's better yet.
Yeah.
It is. You can put, again, and this comes back to a lot of things, but acceptance being one of them. You go, you get a new place, and we do this every time. Every time we get a new place, we buy some furniture, and then we buy some more furniture, and then we might buy some art and hang it on the wall. We we make it homey, but I'd sell every piece of it in a minute and be gone next week if that's what we had to do. That's not home to me. Home was where my wife and my dog is. That's home.
When you were saying about being in that moment, I was just thinking like one person moving to another country requires a different version of them to show up. And that's what makes that experience wholesome with the past experiences of people around and the conversations that were before. You might not be doing that, but this version of that person was made from those experiences, and that what makes it more meaningful.
They shape you. Every experience you have shapes you. It puts another block into you. It's another memory to be filed away. It's another experience. Yeah, it shapes you and it shapes your mind. It shapes your reaction. It shapes your fears. But that's, that's life also because everything you do every day shapes you. It's an experience. You just file these ones under different items.
Has anything been challenging to you while you were moving countries, moving places, and finding people over there?
Switzerland is a very, very hard country to make friends in. It's not that the Swiss are rude or unfriendly. They're just very, very much reserved. They don't want to be your friend, but they have friends. All the friends that I had in Switzerland are expats from England or South Africa or Mexico. So yeah, I had people I'd play golf with. I had people that, we would have dinners together. We weren't friends.
Did you know that before you moved to Switzerland?
No, no,
So how was
did
it
not.
adapting to that? Because you didn't probably experience that in other places, right?
Well, for the first year, we were in lockdown for COVID. So I wasn't really out meeting people anyways. So it kind of fully went into it afterwards because I also didn't speak German at the time. So the year we're in COVID, we're learning German very strong and then being able to speak some German, going out and then trying to meet people. I meet people at golf courses. I meet people at bars, at restaurants. I also meet people at the grocery store, the gas station, wherever I can get near. People that are my friends that I lose every time I move, they've all either been golf course or bars. You meet a variety of people at those two places. So that helps also. And if they're playing golf with you, they're trapped with you for 3.5, 4 hours, and they can't make you be quiet, so they have to listen to you. But Switzerland was very, very difficult. Yeah, for me as an extrovert, it was very struggling to live with because there's no one for me to have an outlet to, friend wise. My poor wife, she had to listen to me constantly, and I felt bad for that.
What would be your advice to overcome such situations? Probably introverts would be more happier in such places.
My wife, as far as that went, she was very happy there. She was. She was also very bored there. As an introvert, she was bored. So that should tell you how boring Switzerland really is. I had to find something. I had to do something to stay busy, and I play golf. So I played a lot of golf. And I always play a lot of golf. But yeah, so yeah, you got to find something to do, and then whatever your hobby is, more than likely, if you go out and do your hobby, you're going to find someone that has the same interest as you because
Yeah.
they're doing the same hobby, and then there's your segue. You really have to be introduced. You're like, oh, you do this too,
Yeah.
but it can be hard if you're not willing to push yourself out there, for the rejection. But I've been here 8 months. I can't go anywhere that I don't run into someone I know now. I had to go to 3 grocery stores today to find what I was looking for and still never found it, and run into 12 people I knew. I was like, Jesus, there's a lot of people around here.
But that's a good thing you pointed out, to find people through your interest. For you, that was golf, where you got those like-minded people, something you could start a conversation about, right? And then I think it gradually grows with that. You get to meet more people through those people you have already met. For me, when I came, I think I was quite interested in writing, creative writing, and there was a creative writer circle that used to meet once a month. And there is when I think back in my own place, I usually had friends my age. And as a person in my late 20s back then, I had friends in their late 60s. And that was so amazing because, and they were my friends. Back at home, probably whom I was either referring to as an aunt or probably some really elderly person you always talked with respect. Of course there's still respect, but you were friends with them, you were on a first name basis with them, and that also opened up so much for me. And the only thing probably common between us was that we all loved writing, and that was such a beautiful starting point. What are your stories with your friends you made at golf courses playing golf?
So my best mate Alex, I met him in South Africa the very first day on a golf course, and we were paired together, didn't know each other. We went and played, had a great day, exchanged phone numbers. We played golf every day together for my entire time in Cape Town. When I moved to Switzerland, he had been dating a girl in Switzerland, so he moved to Switzerland, and we played golf every day together while he was in Switzerland. And then he moved to Portugal, and we moved here, so now we got to wait for him to come back to South Africa so I can go there. And that's going on 7 years ago now. Just, you do this? Yeah. How about that? Yeah, I do this too. Cool. We can hang out. What's your thoughts on this? I'm not going to say there's a list of questions, but there's a list of questions you can ask quickly with short answers to find out whether or not you vibe. Yeah. You know, what's your feelings about this person? Yep, we can't hang out. Sorry.
Yeah. And I think sometimes that's also one thing I am sure you have experienced, both of you probably, that, when we make friends, so when you're younger, there is a friendship is very clearly defined. And I think as you are growing up, there are different layers to friendship. There are friends you can just vibe at a very different level, and you want to be yourself with them. It's okay to be silly, it's okay to be, bring out your worst parts also in front of them. And then there are friends, they're nice people, but you don't really agree with a lot of things they believe in, you are different from them, and you can probably socially be together, but that's not the comfort zone for you. But still, that also is important to open up that mind that you were talking about, at the beginning of our conversation, that just to listen. Okay, they don't think like me, but I could still maybe listen to their point of view. Yeah.
I have 4 classes. I have acquaintances that I know. I have friends that, I go out to dinner with you. I go have drinks with you. I have mates who are a lot closer to that inner circle. And then I have brothers. And I don't have very many brothers. I can name all of them on one hand. But those are people that I trust with my life, my money, my wife, my dog, especially my dog. Yeah, those are brothers. But it takes a long time to get those relationships. You got to go through some stuff with someone to become a friend like that.
But you always keep your mind open to maybe there is a possibility of finding somebody like that, any new
Yes,
place you go.
that's the whole reason I do it, is the hope that I can get to that level with another human being. I don't want you to be an acquaintance. I want you to be a brother. But it all depends on what happens over the next 10 years.
A statement just came to my mind. Wherever you go, just find your tribe. They always exist.
Yes, exactly. We're all different, but a whole lot of us are the same. We're all different in our own special way, and we're all special in our own certain way, but we're all very much alike. We all want the same things. Well, some of us, most of us. There's others that want some crazy stuff, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah. And that is something we want our listeners to get from these podcasts also, that despite the differences, there is something that connects us. And we do find it. We do find it with strangers, with the people you mentioned, like brothers or sisters, those kind of connections that we build. We find it in random places, and sometimes even in just places. I have found that just in Mauritius, that I connect to this place so beautifully. I mean, I was not born here. I don't even speak their language, local language here. But there is something inside me which just connects to the place so much. At one point, me and my husband, we both used to feel that anybody comes here, and if they said that they don't really enjoy Mauritius, we took it upon ourselves to change that experience for them because we felt, no, how can you not connect with this place? You have to see it from our eyes, We're ready to go that extra length to just make you feel how we have felt here.
So I love Africa. I love Mauritius. It's paradise. It really is. So if the beaches didn't have trash all over them every morning, it'd be better paradise. They get it cleaned up by noon, so it's
Yeah.
okay. I love South Africa. I love Namibia, Botswana, Zambia, Zimbabwe, because I've never felt the freedom that I felt living in South Africa or in Africa, period. There's a little more rules and regulations here than there is in South Africa. In South Africa, you do what you want and nobody cares. You can be you, and that's freedom. Now, you also have to realize South Africa is a little bit of a dangerous place. So you're giving up some stuff for your freedom, but there's a payment to be made there. When you live in South Africa, you give up some securities for the freedom that you get there. So, if freedom is important to you, you have to give something up for it. And in South Africa, it could be your life, but you was free up until that point.
Yeah, it was very interesting that you said you get more freedom in South Africa, because the version I always heard was, it's so dangerous, especially Johannesburg.
That's the securities I'm talking about. You're giving up. You're giving those up. But if
Yeah.
you are brave enough to go out and live your life, you're free. Nobody cares. No one cares what you're doing in South Africa.
When you're saying that, you mean the mindset, is it?
No, when I say that, no, I'm saying as long as you're not harming anyone, no one cares. You can do whatever you want, whenever you want, wherever you want. And there's nobody cares. The government don't care. The police don't care. The permit office don't care. Your neighbors don't care. Nobody cares as long as you're not harming someone. You can go out into the middle of the Karoo Desert and build a city and they could care less. They got more important things to deal with. And coming from the U.S., also living in Switzerland. In the U.S., there's a camera on every corner, in the ATMs, in every store, in every doorbell. In Switzerland, they don't need cameras because every neighbor is a cop. In Africa, they could come and clear your entire house out and nobody would have seen a thing because they don't care. Wasn't mine. But they also are that way about everything else. You've got a party going till 4 a.m. Don't care. You do you. Just the attitude, the nonchalant, good care. It was fun.
So when you have lived in so many places, do you feel now you belong to US or do you feel like a global citizen?
I'm very much a global citizen. I'm not American. My passport is about the only thing American about me anymore. And I'm not upset about that. I'm really not. I love who I have become on this journey and what I've got to see, who I've got to meet, what I've got to do. I wouldn't trade it.
Yeah. What are the most important values you have picked up on that journey you are talking about?
From where I began to where I am now, keep an open mind. Just keep an open mind. Don't be quick to judge that I wouldn't do it that way, or I've never heard of this, or I've never seen anything like this in my life. Shut up. Watch, enjoy, participate, eat, whatever. And then ask questions. Yeah. Yeah. If you can't help, don't harm. Yeah. Especially coming from where I was to where I am now, just having that open mind, not being judgmental, not being the typical American helps a lot. Yeah, it's a great big world, and just because you think that way doesn't mean 7.9 billion other people don't think that way.
Do you feel bad when you leave a place where you met so many people, probably made so many memories? I mean, I know you mentioned letting go of the materialistic things, but how easy or difficult is letting go of the connections you had and the places?
Well, that's where that very long uh, directory on your phone comes in. There are certain ones that to this day I still speak to every month. And there are others that maybe 3 months, and then there's some that are just holidays. Or hey, I'm going to be in such and such. What are you doing? To where with the brothers, it's what are you doing on this date? Let's go here. Or can you come this way? I'll come that way. You know, we make it work. Those, I miss hanging out. I miss being in proximity, eating, drinking, joking. That's where I am now, right now. That's what I'm looking for at the moment. And I'm not saying I don't have it with a few, the eating, the drinking, the joking, stuff like that. It just hasn't clicked that this is the person I want to do this with. And there's a few that I have done it with, would like to do it again. There's others that I'm waiting to do it with so I can see. I feel like I'm talking about a date, but it's kind of sort of what it is. You're checking your next best friend's resume.
Yes, I want to ask you. I know you haven't yet, you have traveled to see places, but you haven't really moved base from where you have been yet. What is coming to you when you're hearing about David's journey?
Yeah, to be very honest, it's a different perspective to look at because I've always felt like the place where I am is the perfect to settle in. But I'm happy to travel and experience it. But if you ask me, do you want to go settle somewhere else? I don't know. I don't have an answer for it. So,
I think also that word settle, right? Like
hmm,
to me now, so I was pretty similar to Yash. I think in my 20s, I wanted to get married to somebody who stayed in my same building, so that I don't even have to move houses. But I never wanted to leave India. I loved my country and I felt I just want to be here. Circumstance changed, and to be honest, not put in this situation, but given an opportunity, and the circumstances were such that we chose it. And now my mindset has changed drastically from where it was before. And I no more want to settle. Like, settling kind of makes me feel uncomfortable now. In fact, that I want that movement. I know that moving to another place means more adventure, more things to explore, more growth, things like David was saying, things I've never experienced before, never heard of before. And now I want to learn about those things.
Yeah, is there any perfect place that exists to live in? I'm curious, David, what do you think about it? Is there a perfect place now that you have traveled so many places that you can think?
I guess it comes down to your definition of perfect. Uh, if perfect is beautiful scenery and security and everything being on time, everything being right, everything being taken care of, then Switzerland is perfect. If it's my definition of perfect, I'm pretty close to it right here. I just got to find the people to build that tribe or that poker game, whichever one comes first, and it'll be perfect because the weather doesn't bother me. There's lots of stuff to do. Snorkeling, something that my wife has just now picked up that we're going to start doing together, which makes it even better. Golf, uh, food, yeah. Now, once you do everything on the island, it's kind of boring. It's like, yeah, I've already did that. Yeah, I did that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, you know, pick up some hobbies because sitting on the beach all day isn't going to keep you satisfied.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful the way you put perfect, the definition of being perfect, and the meaning that you attach to the perfect place. I think I can relate to it when I said I'm being in the perfect place at this point.
Yeah, yeah. At this point, now, I'm very happy here. My wife's very happy here. The dog is very, very happy here. It has a lot to offer, but you also have to be prepared for living on an island country in Africa. And there's a whole lot in those three words, island country, Africa, because there's some challenges that you've got to get used to. There's things that you have to adapt to. If we had not lived in South Africa and experienced what that was like, we would have been ill prepared when we moved here. But we knew what Africa was like. We know it's an island. We both worked in operations or understand operations and logistics long enough to know living on an island is not always conducive to having what you want when you want it. So we were very much prepared, and we've made adjustments even to the diet, stuff that you want that you can't find, you find a substitute or you find something new. That's just how that goes.
So relate to what you're saying. I've been on this island for 15 years now. And, but like when we were talking about perfect places, it's such a personal preference. I know people who did not like Mauritius because it didn't have that fast pace, that flashy, busy kind of a place where you step out and there are things to do. You don't slow down so much. But me and my husband, we loved it when we came here. Like, we really enjoyed that part. In fact, we realized for us, what matters the most is how warm the people are. And Mauritius has been amazing with that.
Yes, the people are very warm, and I enjoy that.
And they're always willing to give you, right? Even if they don't have enough, I've seen they always want to share, they want to give you. They might not have much money, but whatever they have, they will try and share as much as possible. And that's so heartening to see that, and it's very genuinely comes out from them.
Yeah, that's one of the things I was told when I first got here is Mauritians speak with their heart, and it's very true.
Is there a place or a culture where you have been that has completely changed your way of thinking or the way you see the world?
Not a complete change in one place, but a complete change over several places. It's, living in South Africa and having so many friends that were Muslim and freely would answer any question, and then being invited to participate in certain gatherings. Uh, they changed my view. Not that my view was bad to start with, but they made me understand even better and appreciate more. Because up until then, I'd only had maybe 3 or 4 Muslim friends in the U.S. Not very many of them in rural areas. In the military, I had some friends that were Muslim. They uh, showed me just a very different side, a very different view into it. I'm not Muslim. I'm not going to become Muslim. They live what they speak. They live it.
Yeah.
And it just really opened my eyes to it. And then living in Switzerland, it was very different because there's like one religion. And then coming back here, now I get to learn more about Hindi, what I know, and now I know what I don't know, and I don't know what I don't know yet. That really changed a lot because now I know why things are the way things are, and things are done the way things are done. Like I'm finding out about Hindi.
So, David, I wanted to ask you, you're a father and a grandfather. Do you see a difference in how younger generations build connections today compared to how you did?
My children are not adventurous. So going out and getting new connections and stuff like that isn't something that they do. 2 of them are very much introverts, so that makes it difficult to start with. Yeah, there's a difference. They're not doing it. And I mean, I also understand that, and I'm not being down on them for that. They have families. They have small children. You're not going to take 5 kids and move to another continent when they're all under the age of 10. Well, you could, but it'd be a very difficult thing. So no, I don't know. I don't know that they are making connections the way I make connections because they look like me. They do not act like me.
But it is like being an extrovert or an introvert doesn't change the experience of moving places or making connections. Like you mentioned that your wife, though she's an introvert, maybe she has 10 connections and you have 100, but she does make those 10 connections.
Right. Yeah. Now she makes those connections. Yes. You have to look. Our children haven't moved 15 kilometers away from where they were born. They're still there. Yeah. Now, the 2 youngest ones have traveled. They like the world. They like the experiences. They just don't want to be there. They'd rather be where they are. It's like travel's okay, but I don't want to go live there.
I can relate. I can relating. I'm relating to pretty much my situation or my way of looking at it. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Probably it's just the age, David. What do you think? Does it affect with the age? Like this generation is more of like that?
I don't know. I think it's opportunity. Yeah. And the want, you want to do that compared to I have to do that. Right.
So, yeah, I do feel that there are so many things going on for the younger generation. There is so much to keep them busy, to keep them distracted, that seeking adventures seem like a holiday thing.
Yeah. Very much a holiday thing. Yeah. They're they're not sitting there going, ooh, I want to go live in Brazil or I want to go live in Spain. They're like, no, mom lives around the corner and I'm going to stay right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the sense of adventure is near what it was for my generation. I have several classmates that we graduated high school together that live in other countries now and have for a long time. I guess we watched too many movies growing up and wanted to go see.
If you had to give some advice to someone who's moving away from their home for the first time, what would that advice be to them from you?
Find you a good grocery store, find you a good delivery store, explore. And I'm not trying to be smart with that. The sooner you can get a routine down and you can get to places that you are familiar with and then you get more familiar with and then you gain a new place and you gain a new place and you gain a new place, the more comfortable you get, the more at home you start to feel. This is where I buy my groceries. This is where I get bread. This is the fruit market I go to. This is such and such. Then you get this routine down, and then you start seeing the same people over and over and over. Uh, it it it's a routine, but it's something that makes life normal. And that's what you're looking for, is to get back to normality as quick as possible. Because then it's not a stress, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking away two words from the whole conversation. One is adventure and the second is adaptability.
Yes.
I guess find your tribe.
Yes,
David, thank you so much. It was such a fun, adventurous conversation today. Your friendliness and ease of conversing has brought so much life into this conversation as we explored the meaning of home, um, power of connection between human beings, and embracing new experiences with an open heart, with an open mind. Your life journey is a testament to how genuine relationships can turn any place into a home. And we are certain this conversation will touch our listeners deeply, sparking a desire and motivation to make those meaningful connections anywhere they move to, and probably even inspires them to move, explore not just through travel, but to live and see cultures, be part of culture. Thank you so much, David.
Thank you for having me. It's been a joy.
Friends, if you have been listening to this episode, we hope it has sowed new and thoughtful seeds of belongingness, adaptability, and the beauty of human connection wherever you are in the world. Moving to new places isn't just about geography, it's about the emotions, friendships, and the mindset that shape our experiences. As you reflect, consider what home truly means to you, how you can create deeper connections wherever you go. We have with us, as always, some reflective questions to help deepen your thoughts on finding home in unexpected places. Whether you're moving to a new city, stepping out of your comfort zone, or simply looking to build more meaningful relationships, these questions will guide you in exploring belonging, connection, and personal growth. What does home mean to you? Is it a place, the people around you, or a feeling within yourself? What's the biggest fear that holds you back from connecting with new people? When was the last time you struck up a conversation with a stranger, and how did that feel? Do you think belonging is something we find or something we create? What's one way you can make someone else feel welcome in your community? We hope these questions help you reflect, connect, and grow, opening you up to experiences that enrich your life.
David, thank you once again. We're truly grateful for the incredible stories and insights you have shared with us today. Your journey is a reminder that home is not just a place, it's the connections we make along the way. Next week on the Human Weave podcast, we'll be joined by Sangeeta Kamal, a storyteller in her own right. and an expert in biography work. Together, we'll explore the power of life stories, how connecting with past shapes your present and future. We can't wait to share it with you, so don't miss out. Don't forget to subscribe to the Human View podcast. For now, this is Yash and Rosh signing off. Stay connected and stay curious.